Hey guys, Chris here from christhefreelancer.com, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you my experience as a digital nomad here in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. So I decided to come to Las Palmas for two reasons. Well, three reasons in fact. There were two events happening. Nomad City is this annual event that's happening right now. I've been busy covering the first 5 days and there's still 3 more days of events to go, so stay tuned for that video coming out next. And also, once Nomad City finishes, there's another event called Nomad Cruise with conferences, workshops for digital nomads that I'll be heading out on. That's leaving from here as well. But thirdly, I just wanted to check out Las Palmas anyway, because from what I've seen online, it looks like a place of really good potential as a great digital nomad destination. Lots of co-working spaces, events, just the lifestyle here. So as you'll find out throughout this video, I really enjoyed my time here, but let's get straight into the evaluation. Let's start with cost of living. If I had to describe the prices in Las Palmas in one word, I would probably say they're reasonable. A lot of people from the US and Western Europe will come over here and say, wow, it's so cheap. And you know, it is quite inexpensive when you compare it to Western Europe and the US. But for somebody who's been traveling all over the world, especially spending a lot of time in Southeast Asia, I mean, it's not cheap compared to those prices. So let's start with our accommodation. I'm sitting here in our apartment. It's a studio apartment, really close to the beach on Playa de las Cantares. Literally, we can walk out of this building onto the beach promenade. Really good location, we can walk everywhere, and we're paying 1,500 AUD per month. And we booked this 31 days through Airbnb. Obviously, as I say in every video, if you're gonna rent, if you're gonna find apartments on the ground, sure you can get that cost way down. For us, we always like the convenience of Airbnb. For food and drink, this is the area where your expenses can really run wild if you're not careful. Denise and I, as I said, are staying here along Playa de las Cantares, and to have a nice dinner across this beach promenade, you know, can cost you anywhere from 20 to 30 euros per person. We had like a nice dinner at this place called Chica Taverna, and it was like 48, 55 euros for both of us. And I'd say this is like a standard upper range tourist restaurant on the beach. You definitely pay more to eat on the beach, and there's a lot of difference in pricing between like a really touristy place or a more local place. If you want to go cheaper, you can get a cheaper meal at like a kebab shop or a cafe. Cafes, they serve a lot of sandwiches and bocadillo, which is basically like a Spanish version of a sandwich. It's just, I think the definition is like sandwich with Spanish bread. So it's all very pastry heavy usually when you're getting quick meals and going to cafes. The other option though, and one we've really enjoyed, is there are a lot of Asian restaurants here, and they seem to be quite affordable. You know, I'm talking 5 euros to maybe 8 or 9 euros for a meal, and that'll fill you up. Lots of rice, lots of noodles. Still nothing compared to obviously the prices in Asia, but for here, that's quite good. The one thing I didn't like about the food and drink scene was that there didn't seem to be many places to grab a quick and easy meal, like at a chain restaurant. In Asia, there's a lot of street food, obviously, but you know, in Eastern Europe, in those big cities, you can go to chain restaurants and kind of, when you're doing a work day and you just want to walk down and grab a quick lunch and come back, I found that kind of hard to find. A lot of places, they kind of expect you to sit down and enjoy your lunch, which might be a cultural Spanish thing, or might be because we are on a tourist island. That was the one thing that I found kind of difficult. Of course, you can cook your own food, and definitely we did a bit of groceries while we were here in Las Palmas. I'm gonna throw some numbers up on your screen now. I don't know how much of a good indicator this is gonna be, throwing up this sample, but I've done this in each location so you can compare and contrast. I think this is a bit more expensive than what we've experienced in Eastern Europe. But the thing I will say about groceries is I found it a little bit limited on the fresh produce and fresh milk as well. and I suppose that's because it's an island, and to get certain things on the island is a little bit harder. Next up is transport, and for getting around the island, it's quite easy. I'm staying in a quite central area, like I said, near Playa de las Cantares. I can walk most of the places I need. There's restaurants everywhere, there's supermarkets nearby. The walk to the gym is a little bit longer. It's about, I think, 20 to 40 minutes. For longer distances, there's a surprisingly good bus system here. I just had to walk out to Park Santa Catalina and could take buses to pretty much anywhere else in Las Palmas, and a single trip on that bus will set you back about 140 euros. For longer distances to outside of Las Palmas and different parts of Gran Canaria like Palomas, we went to Palomas and it cost 625 euros one way. So, you know, that's a bit more expensive for a public transport ticket, but it was a 45-minute drive, and you're probably not going to be traveling up and down to Palomas every day. So that's kind of like a weekend thing. So it's really cool that you have that option to get anywhere on the island almost using buses. And if you want to get to other places or want the freedom to travel wherever you want, you can always hire a car. I've seen rentals on Kayak for as little as 8 euros a day, but that was manual transmission. It kind of doubled or even more than doubled when you wanted automatic, because I don't drive manual personally. I know a few people that have hired a car, and they've all used the same company called Sicar. The link to that will be in the blog post if you want to check them out. And if you're going to do a 7-day hire, I checked their website, it's about 100 to 130 euros a week. I don't often hire cars, so I don't know whether that's cheaper and expensive, but that's an option as well. And finally, on transport, Las Palmas is a pretty bike-friendly city as well. So if you want to hire a bicycle, you can pay like on a daily basis. I think it's like about 5 euros a day, but I'm sure you can, you know, get that down if you book multiple days, if you want to ride everywhere. And they have a lovely kind of bike paths near the water, and that's a beautiful ride, and you can get a lot of places in Las Palmas on a bicycle. For phone plans, Denise and I were in a rush when we arrived from the airport, and we needed to find our Airbnb. So we just signed up at the first store we saw, and we went with a provider called Leica Mobile. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because I don't think there's any shop fronts on the island, but there are like convenience stores where you can buy SIM cards at and top up. So our package, we got 4 gigabytes for 9 euros, but because of the rounding, we had to pay 10 euros. And that was supposed to last the whole month, but I ran out after 3 weeks, and it was actually cheaper to buy a new SIM than it was to recharge. So I just recharged again for 10 euros. Wasn't the cheapest plan I've had on my travels, but I think it's definitely cheaper than the packages you can get from back home in Australia. For coffee and alcohol, you know, it can be quite expensive or quite cheap depending on where you are. This is something that is affected a lot by, I think, tourism. So the more touristy area you're in, the more you're gonna pay for coffee and alcohol. So coffee, you know, just around here, you can generally pay, you know, 1 euro for an espresso, as much as 250 euro for a cappuccino. But for alcohol, you can expect to pay maybe 2 to 3 euros at a bar. That's pretty much, I didn't pay more than 3 euros for a beer, I think, while I was here. And at the shops, you can get beers for as little as like 23 euro cents. So very cheap if you want to drink alcohol. I don't drink wine, but I'm sure a glass of wine can be just as cheap, if not cheaper. All right, let's talk about cafes and co-working spaces. And I think I said it before that there are a surprising number of co-working spaces on this island. And as a person who likes co-working spaces over working out of cafes, I really appreciated this. There was no need for me to really work out of cafes. The one I chose to work out of even before I arrived was Coworking C. It's a space that I've been following for quite some time, and the space is found in Nacho. He's also the founder of Nomad City, and he's starting a co-living space called The Roof. So he's actively involved in pushing the digital nomad movement forward and bringing awareness to Gran Canaria. So it was kind of like the space I identified with from a distance, and working out of there. It had everything I needed, so I didn't really venture too far out of Coworking C. I did try out another co-working space on an open day called Coco Coworking. I have a friend that works out of there. It's further south, has more natural light, and is cheaper, I believe. But you know, they're quite similar in terms of quality, internet speed, atmosphere. The only cafe that I did get my laptop out in was called Cafe Regina. I know some other people that had their computers as well, and had a meeting with some friends. They recommended this place, and after we had coffee and breakfast, we did a bit of work. Internet was good. I wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable like doing a full work day here because it was quite busy and didn't feel like a place where a lot of laptop workers would work out of. But that being said, it was the only cafe that I've actually seen other people on their computers. So maybe I'm not going to the right places, but in terms of co-working and cafe scene, a lot of co-working spaces, they're all really high quality, but the cafe scene, I think, is just more for coffee and hanging out. So that works for me. I love co-working. Let's move on to lifestyle and things to do. So lifestyle and things to do is the area where I believe Gran Canaria truly shines. The island is said to be like a mini continent because there's different climates and landscapes depending on where you are in the island. Here in Las Palmas, for example, it might be cloudy here, but you go further south and you're in Las Palmas and the sun is out and skies are blue, and then you go into the mountains and you're above the clouds, and it's sometimes a bit more chilly up there because higher altitude. And you've got so much difference of landscapes. You've got the dunes of Las Palmas to golden beaches to more dark beaches to pebbly beaches to old towns to new towns to mountains. And yeah, you've got something for everyone here in Las Palmas. If you like to live an active lifestyle and get out and about, whether you're into mountain hikes, motorbike rides, hanging out at the beach, it's got it all. Or you can go for a bicycle ride on the water, surf lesson on the beach, go on a boat trip. There's lots to do. And in terms of just like general lifestyle, you know, I really appreciate being able to walk everywhere, get to places easily, have kind of be in a laid back place where people kind of enjoy life. And I definitely get that vibe here in Las Palmas. It is an island, but you don't have the problems of an island in terms of poor infrastructure. So it really is a place where you can live comfortably and still get up to lots of stuff on the weekends and really like enjoy it as a tourist as well. So my final thoughts on Las Palmas, I mean, I love it here. If you can afford to stay here in Las Palmas, I definitely recommend trying it out for a bit. The community is surprisingly good here, especially during Nomad City. I've met so many different people from all around the world. There's meetups and events happening. The co-working spaces are great to meet new people. The lifestyle is great. So many things to do. Lots of co-working spaces. I think I already mentioned that. But yeah, I mean, the only negative thing, I guess, about it is just a little bit more expensive. But otherwise, the position is great. The weather is great all year round. It's in the EU, which is going to be appealing to a lot of Europeans as well. No visa issues. For me, it's a bit more tricky with the Schengen rules, but it has a great balance of lifestyle and being able to get work done and community and a more serious business culture, definitely, than you know, places like Chiang Mai. So if you're looking for a reliable, you know, EU destination for remote work with a great lifestyle, I think it's hard to beat Gran Canaria. All right, so hopefully that was valuable to you guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Give it a like if you found this information valuable. Like I said, covering Nomad City at the moment, and so the next video you will see on this channel will be of Nomad City, and then I'll be heading out on the Nomad cruise, which should be pretty epic. I'll be making a video on that as well. So definitely stay tuned to the channel, stay subscribed, and give me a comment if you have any questions about Las Palmas or anything else. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you on the next video. See you guys.